Hi everybody, Dr. R. Beitman here. Thank you for tuning in. For those of you who are patients or members of our community, I want to say thank you for allowing us to be part of your health and wellness strategy during this ever most important time. For those of you who I haven't met yet, I sure hope to meet you one day. It's a privilege and an honor that you clicked on the button to watch me present information that I believe can impact you and your family's health. And as we came into practice during this coronavirus epidemic, I asked myself, how can I better serve this community? What role can upper cervical chiropractic Monmouth play in the support of this community? And I believe, beyond a shadow of a doubt, simply by us being open as an essential healthcare provider, that's going to support our community at its greatest time of need. Stress is at its highest point. People with acute conditions still need their care. People with chronic conditions are having exacerbations. And then there are hundreds of patients in our practice who understand the role that a healthy spine and nervous system plays in immune support. It was just last Saturday that we took care of a patient who is running command and control for a hospital system down in South Jersey. And I got an email later in the day and she said, thank you so much for being available. And so we have our safety protocols in place to make sure that we can render care in a safe and an effective way. And then as I was taking care of patients yesterday, I said there's more that we can do, because the whole crisis has put people into sort of this fear and anxiety state. Not everybody, but a lot of people. And when the body goes into a state of fear and anxiety, it actually contracts, it goes into defense mode, and it actually lowers resistance. It actually lowers immune system function. And if that's you, then just be assured that you're not alone. A lot of people don't feel good when there are times that are uncertain, when there are things that are outside of our control. And anytime that I have felt uncertainty in my life, what I always ask myself is, what is it that I can control? And the one thing that we can always control is what we focus on, what our most dominant thoughts are, and our behaviors. And the most important behavior that we can take right now is to take action steps on our health. Anybody can do that regardless of what's happening in the external circumstances. And it'll be a small victory and a small win. But at the same time, now is the most imperative time that we are taking care of our health, because we all stand the risk of having an exposure. It's not going to go away in a couple of weeks. And so the good news is that most people who are exposed to coronavirus, upwards to 80% they're telling us, are going to have mild symptoms. And when this thing is all said and done and we look back, 97, 98, maybe even 99% of the people who are exposed to this illness are going to live. And so my message to everybody on the other side of the monitor there is, what are you doing? What is your health strategy that you can put in place right now to make sure that you are in that 97, 98, 99%? God forbid you did have an exposure and or an infection. And so the very caring medical profession has given us guidelines. And some of those guidelines include social distancing, washing our hands, paying attention to early signs and symptoms. And all of those strategies are really smart and really sound. However, they're not enough. Where is the conversation about what can I do in the event that I do get infected, so that my body has the strength and fortitude and resources to combat that infection? And so what I want to do over the next, 15, 20, 25 minutes, depending on how verbose I get, is give you very sound strategies that you can easily implement from the comfort of your own home, so that you can build up your body's ability to fight back. And so we're going to have a talk, health talk, an immune system talk, and just that. So one of the things that we've got to be aware of is our thoughts. Your thoughts, if I gotta tell you, I'm in my office right now. The office is completely closed, and I'm used to presenting here with just tons of people looking at me, and I kind of getting the sense of what the Pelotonic instructors or the workout and gym instructors are feeling working out by themselves to an empty room. But I know I'm not alone. This is what we know. Your thoughts impact your health. If I ask a room full of people, how many people believe that what you think determines your can impact your health? Everybody raises their hand. If it's something as simple as stress causing an ulcer or a high blood pressure, that is a perfect example of mental stress can impact our health. On the flip side, nobody walks around saying they have cancer when they don't. And so we have to be careful by being constantly plugged into the news right now, because it's just more bad news over bad news over more bad news. And I gotta tell you, one of the news stations the other day, they had a scoreboard up on how many deaths there were per country. I thought I was in a science fiction movie, using people's lives and keeping score like that. It was sick. And so I'm not saying put your head in the sand, or for some of you that may be the best strategy, is to just completely shut off and tune out to social media and the news, but you can just read the headlines and stay informed. So be careful, because when that puts you into a state of fear, fight or flight, and anxiety, it's going to produce a stress hormone called cortisol, which is known to decrease your immune system. And I've got to tell you, sometimes it's not the seed, it's the soil. What do I mean by that? This is a coronavirus, and the reason why it's so contagious and so many people can contract it so easily is because as a population and as a species, we haven't had a history of exposure to it, so we do not have an adaptive immune response yet. What do I mean by an adaptive immune response? Your immune system is broken up into two components. You have your innate immune response, which is basically your early first detection, your innate intelligence, your innate immune response. That's equivalent to, like, if you touched a hot stove and instantly your hand got drawn away. That's an innate response. Once the body identifies the foreign invader, then it has the secondary response, which is called the adaptive response. And if your body is exposed to something that it's been exposed to in the past, then you're going to have the appropriate adaptive response. Excuse me. But right now, we don't have that adaptive response because of lack of exposure. So the medical model right now is, as I mentioned before, is to isolate, wash hands, and then pay attention to early signs and symptoms. For most people who are having mild signs and symptoms, they're telling people to stay home, and only if a person goes into distress or they're in that category of 65 and over or have underlying health conditions, seek medical attention. So the problem with that model is it's very reactive. Other than the social distancing, it's very reactive. So what I want to do today, as I had already mentioned, is give you strategies to be proactive, to build up your body's resistance should you be exposed. So I was talking to a cardiothoracic surgeon a couple of years ago, and he said, you know what, Larry? Most people are going to go through this life, and we're all going to face an event. We're all going to face a health event. It may be this coronavirus, it may be a surgery that we may need, it may be a trauma, it may be a diagnosis that we get, but we're all going to face an event. And he said, by the time the patient comes to me and needs a quadruple bypass or an angioplasty, most of these people haven't prepared for the event. It would be like showing up to a marathon and had never gone out for a run or a jog or done any training. And so we're all going to face an event, and how well did we prepare our health will determine how well we get through that event. And so that's what we're going to talk about next. So I don't believe the medical doctors are getting anything wrong. I believe, and thank God we have such caring and compassionate medical doctors who are working down here, and right now there are so many people falling off the cliff at such a fast pace that they don't have the time, energy, or resources to go up on top of the cliff and talk to those two guys and say, this is what you should do. And again, it's not that they're not doing their job, because God knows they are, but they're the experts in the treatment of disease. This is where they're very concerned about having enough ventilators and having enough hospital beds, and they want to make sure they have enough of these for all the people coming off the cliff in such a short amount of time. That's what this whole flattening of the curve conversation is about. What I'm saying is, as a wellness provider, and I've got to tell you, why should you listen to me? I'm not a guru. I am a health practitioner that has taken care of patients for 17 years, and I've seen thousands of patients, and I have a very unique vantage point and understanding of human psychology, and specifically as it relates to their physiology. And so I spent my career working up at the top of the cliff, coaching, wellness coaching patients so that they don't fall off the cliff. And I think it's really important to have doctors down here and nurses. Thank you for being on the front line. And I think it's really important to have doctors such as myself up there at the top of the cliff. And so none of this conversation today is about treating somebody with coronavirus. The whole conversation is, how do we stay up on top of this cliff? And God forbid we fall down, we get back up. And so fighting disease is just part of this conversation, but we're going to talk now about how to boost the body's response. And we have to understand that the immune system, there's no organ called the immune system, meaning your cardiovascular system, you think of your heart, your pulmonary system, you think of your lungs, your urinary system, you think of your bladder. There's no immune organ. The immune system is exactly that. It's a system, and it's comprised of your mucosa, meaning the lining of your nasal passages and throat, your tonsils, your adenoids, your spleen, your nervous system, your endocrine system. All of these systems determine your body's response. And so what do we do if that virus does take hold in our body? How is it going to respond? And the first thing that we've got to do is we've got to break this up into three components. We have the mental emotional component of building our resistance. We have the chemical or nutritional component, and then we have the physical component. And I'm going to do it exactly in that order. Right now, many of us, and believe me, I've had some moments myself, go into this position right here. Emotional distress. And unchecked emotional distress will lead to disease. I remember practicing during 2012 Hurricane Sandy, and I had predicted that it affected our community so badly. I mean, so many patients lost their homes, lost their jobs. It was a major, major disruption. And I predicted that on the other side of the recovery of Hurricane Sandy, we were going to see patients with new health conditions that they didn't have prior to that event. And not just PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, but actually physical conditions that arose as a result of going through that stressful period. And I was right. My consultations in the November, December, and January, the 3 months after Hurricane Sandy, were it all started right after the hurricane. And so I do believe, unfortunately, that there's going to be the damage of the virus, the damage of the financial strain that the economy is feeling, and then there's going to be the health burdens that are now going to show up in people, could potentially show up in people's bodies, because we know that with emotional stress that's unchecked, the CDC said 90% of health conditions are partly caused by emotional stress. And that's because it leads to an increased output by the sympathetic nervous system, your fight or flight nervous system, and that is completely destructive to the body, the fight or flight system. So what does that mean? Our nervous system is broken up into two components. You have your sympathetics, which is your fight or flight, and then you have your parasympathetics, which is your healing and repair, digest part of your nervous system. It's really healthy that we have both parts, because if I were to step out onto the street and see a car coming, my nervous system, my fight or flight would kick on, my muscles would contract and I would jump out of the way. If somebody were to see an animal in the woods on a dark hiking trail, their fight or flight would kick in. They would either get ready to fight the bear or run from the bear. And what would happen during fight or flight? Well, think about it. In the moment that you're facing a bear, your muscles will tighten, your heart rhythm will go up, your blood pressure will go up, the body will dump cholesterol into the bloodstream and sugar, because that's the energy that you need to fight or run. Your immune system gets suppressed because you don't need that. Your libido gets suppressed because you don't need that in that moment. And the body ends up prepared to fight. Now, after that bear goes away, the body is then supposed to kick back onto parasympathetic, where it heals, grows, and repairs. And the challenge is, instead of this bear facing us for a moment in time, we have this bear facing us 24 hours a day right now, 7 days a week, and we don't know how long that's going to be for. And that constant drip of cortisol and then adrenaline into your nervous system, from your endocrine system into your bloodstream, can start to break down body tissues. And this is why you have to have strategies to disengage. We're going to give you those. What can we control? There is so much that we don't know. We don't know when we're going to be let out of quarantine, or when your place of work is going to let open back up. We don't know if the people that we love are going to be affected by this physically or financially. There's just so many unanswered questions. And as human beings, we like having uncertainty and we like having variety, but we also like having certainty. And so this is why we may end up watching a movie that we've seen 40 times right now, because we like having some certainty. This is why people were rushing out and getting toilet paper in the droves, because it gave them a sense of control, like they were doing something when they felt so out of control. But there are things that we can control all the time. We can control our focus. You can control what you focus on. You can control what you watch, what you consume, and who you talk to and who you don't talk to. That thought will then lead to a behavior. You can control your behaviors, you can control your perceptions, and you can control your actions. And those actions right now should be ones that propel you forward. You can pick a high priority item and do that right now. You can say, my health is my greatest priority, and you have an incentive now more than ever to do something for your health. If you go out, and we're going to give you some steps here, and take a walk, that will give you this sense of control. You know what, I said I was going to do something, I did it, and I did it. So I think now more than ever, we have to increase our resilience. And as Americans, we pride ourselves in being one of the most resilient countries on the planet. And I believe in Americans, and I believe that we are a strong culture and a strong nation, and I believe we'll come out of this even stronger than before. Some people have a higher level of resilience than others. The definition of resilience is the ability to bounce or spring back into shape after being stretched, bent, or compressed. So think about a tree on the Jersey Shore that's just been battered by wind and weather and rain through the years. It gets all gnarly, and they tend to have thicker bristles, or the leaves are hardier and the branches are thicker. And so when they bend, but they don't break, they bounce back. And so your body's ability to bend, your mind's ability to bend but not break, is so key. It's like the Aikido master, the martial arts master, that it seems like he never gets knocked down. And his student said, "Master, why does it seem like you never get knocked down?" He said, "I get knocked down every day. I just get up so fast no one ever notices." And so you get to decide right now how resilient you're going to be. You've got to realize there are many hidden upsides to the so-called downsides right now. You get to decide whether this is a curse or this is a blessing. I promise you that there are opportunities that are going to come out of these challenges. A lot of people are going to make pivots in their life. A lot of solutions and innovations are going to come out of this. I think schooling may be different. The way you talk to your doctor may be different. Technology is going to be different. There are going to be things that positives that are going to come out on the other side of this. So you're going to have to build your coping resources in order to build your resilience. We're going to talk about exercising, meditating, getting adjusted, practicing yoga, some sort of breathing or relaxation exercise. And you just got to see that this is a temporary setback. This will not be forever. It's really easy during a snowstorm to know, okay, the snow's going to stop, they're going to plow the road, and we're all going to get back to work. I get it. There's no black and white line here. But it is going to end. It is going to end. There's always a spring after a winter. And you need to fill your day right now with high priority activities. You need to remain objective and rational versus irrational. And you need to have the foresight to develop and work a plan each and every day. It's the people that are contracting, that are getting passive right now, that are going to get just rolled over. So make sure you have a plan and make sure you're working on it, and I'm going to give you a health plan right now. I think one of the greatest things that's happening right now is how our kids are home. And I get it. It's a total burden. It's a total burden on both parents or the parent that is handling the child 24/7 and the schoolwork and trying to work. But at the end of the day, if we look at our children and how they're responding, they can teach us a lot. They can teach us a lot because it's their laughter, their fun, their play, their creativity. I get it. Like, it doesn't take away from the reality of what we're facing. But if we can, for an hour, for 2 hours, for 30 minutes, just tap into that and play with them and get in their fort or do their art project or take out the baseball glove and have a catch, or ride a bike with them. Do the silly things that they want to do. Start the puzzle. Put the puzzle on your kitchen table. Just model what your children are doing. What's the benefits of having fun and laughter? Lowering your blood pressure, increasing blood flow and oxygenation. It gives a diaphragm to your diaphragm will work out. You get good oxygenation when you're laughing. It increases the response of different disease-killing cells, such as gamma interferon and T cells. It defends against respiratory infections, even reducing the frequency of colds by immunoglobulin that's secreting your saliva. So there's just so many benefits. Make sure if you do have that time at the end of the day to put something on, don't watch Pandemic. Watch a comedy. Go back to the comedy from your childhood that made you laugh. Watch some of our great American comedians. Dive into that right now. We have to talk about food, because what doesn't make sense to me is when I go into the food store, and this was really evident in the first week when everybody was sort of hoarding and buying everything up, and I saw the junk aisle shelves are empty, people leaving Sam's Club with gigantic cases of soda pop, and then the health food section, the organic section, is flowing over. Your best defense is going to be the food that you put into your body. Patients will ask me and ask Dr. Cordy, what supplements can I take right now to support my immune system? And that's a great question, and I'll give you that information. But I got to tell you, the word supplement is exactly that. It's intended to supplement what you're not getting in your food. And so if people are taking this time home to sit on their couch and consume more calories, when you go back out of your house and you go back into the world, like, you didn't fortify your system, you weakened your system. You're now going to be more susceptible, and if you do get it, won't have the raw materials that your body needs to fight. Because if that infection takes hold, you're going to need that adaptive immune response to come in. And the food you eat can be either the safest and most powerful form of medicine or the slowest form of poison. So if your body was a Ferrari, and it is, it's actually worth a lot more than a Ferrari, you would never put junk fuel into your Ferrari and expect it to perform. You have to choose wisely what you're putting in. You've got to eat live foods, live fruit, vegetables, good clean meats. You need to shop around the outside of the grocery store. consume very little in the aisles. Consume things where on the boxes there's lots of chemistry and chemicals. You should be running to the grocery store or getting orders a couple times a week right now to keep those live, fresh foods coming into your body. That is your best bet right now. And if your body can remain alkaline, it's going to be a lot less susceptible to certain types of infections than if it becomes acidic. Sugar makes it acidic. Alkaline fruits and vegetables will make it alkaline. So junk food versus healthy food. Junk food versus healthy food. Choose wisely, choose smart. I mean, again, it's just incomprehensible to me that everybody's saying be safe, be safe, be safe. Wash your hands, wash your hands, wash your hands. Why aren't we saying eat well, eat well, eat well, eat well, and just reminding ourselves of that? It's probably the most important thing right now. And so inside your food comes all of those God-made or nature-made nutrients that your body needs to support its immune function. If you needed to supplement, these are some of the key supplements that we're making sure that we're putting into our body right now in our home. So vitamins A, C, and D are critical. Vitamin A, vitamin C, and vitamin D. In fact, in China, and there are doctors that are looking to actually treat coronavirus patients with infusions of vitamin C. Vitamin D is really important for the immune system, and there's studies to show that high levels of vitamin D can ward off the common cold or influenza viruses. And so vitamin D is made by your body from sun exposure, but if we haven't been outside a lot because we're coming out of winter, then you may want to supplement it. So in our family, we use these Metagenics, the company Metagenics. Vitamin D3 comes in a liquid form. I personally take 10,000 IUs a day, and we give it to our children too at a smaller dosage. We also are taking a phytomulti. What does that mean? Everybody knows about a multivitamin, but there are phytonutrients that come in fruits and vegetables that are now extracted and put into many of the multivitamins. So we look for a phytomulti, and that's actually the name of the multivitamin that I take, again, from the company Metagenics. Zinc, and most people know that. Colloidal silver. Probiotics, we're going to talk about the importance that the gut plays in your immune function. Dr. Cordy, an expert in nutrition in our office, made this suggestion back in October when she was doing an immune talk and getting our patients prepared for cold or flu season before we even knew what the coronavirus was. And this is a supplement called Coryza Forte, made by Progressive Laboratories, and it has these vitamins, plus echinacea and other nutrients to help with the immune system. And then omega-3 is probably one of the most important supplements that your brain and spinal cord and nerves need, because these are the healthy fats that your brain and your spinal cord are comprised of, omega-3. So those are the supplements that we're taking in our home right now. Water is really important. Because every single process of your body relies on water. Your body, as most people know, is primarily water. And if you're dehydrated and if you're not a water drinker, you're not going to actually feel thirsty. Those of us who drink a lot of water and consume a lot of water actually feel thirstier. This is why people who are 65 and over, our seniors, tend to become chronically dehydrated, because they've lost their thirst receptors have become desensitized. The more you drink, the thirstier you will feel. Very important right now that we're constantly super flushing the system, that we're ridding the body of toxins. What we know about the coronavirus is that it attaches right now to certain receptors called ACE receptors. And ACE receptors are located in the lungs, the kidneys, and in fat tissue. And a lot of toxins are in fat tissue. And so what we want to do is we will constantly want to be flushing out the toxins of our body. It should always be coming in or out. And if you're a caffeine drinker or a coffee drinker, you just need to drink more, because that's a diuretic, and that actually drains you of more more fluid. So sleep is probably the most, I keep saying everything's the most important. It's all important, and that's the whole message here. You can't just say, oh, I'm taking my vitamins, or I'm getting my sleep, or I'm getting my adjustments. Like, you got it right now, you've got to be doing the whole deal. You've got to be doing the whole deal. You've got to put on, you got to have your Superman cape on. And sleep is huge, and right now, I would say more than ever, making sure that you're getting up into your bed 30 minutes earlier than you normally do before this whole fiasco. If you were normally getting into bed at 10, I'd say go up at 9:30. If it was 9:30, do 9. If it was 9, do 8:30. And I would create a 30-minute bubble where there's no phone, no social media, nothing. Just you and your heart, maybe your loved ones, maybe a book, maybe some meditation, maybe some stretching. You get the room nice and dark, you get the room nice and cool, and you get enough, maybe you get that extra 30 to 60 minutes of sleep. When we're trying to do too much in too short amount of time and we're not allowed recharging our cell phone, that's when we run into trouble. I just had this thought about cell phone. I want to make sure I'm recording. I am. I'm here by myself today, so I don't have my AV team. So the next thing is breathing. And one of the ways that we can create alkalinity in our body, and remember, disease does not do well in an alkaline environment. It proliferates more in an acidic environment, is to do deep breathing. Now, the effects of deep breathing are plenty, from stress reduction to lower blood pressure, to a sense of calm, to emotional distress relief. I like to do something called box breathing, where I breathe in for 2 seconds, I hold for 2 seconds, and then I exhale for 2 seconds. And I'll do a set of 5 or 6 of those, and I feel my whole state change. One of the reasons we feel so good after exercise or after meditation is because we change the rhythm of the pattern of our breathing. When we're in a state of fight or flight, when you're running into that bear or that coronavirus fear, your body is going to start to shallow breathe. You're going to use these accessory muscles. You're going to get really tight in your traps and your neck, and you're not going to fill your lungs up with the oxygenation. The lungs are like a pitcher of water. You want to fill them from the bottom up. So when I do a belly breath, when my belly comes out and I lower my diaphragm, the oxygen goes all the way into the lower field of my lungs, and it fills up that way rather than just filling the top lobes of my lungs. So feels amazing. Do it right now. Try it. Meditation. So I am, my wife and I are huge proponents of meditation because it's made such a profound difference in our lives and our reactivity to life itself. A couple of years ago, 2 or 3 years ago, we got trained in transcendental meditation, and we learned this very simple skill that we can tap into any time. And you don't have to be trained in any one form of meditation, and it is not a spiritual practice, although it could be. You could use the apps on your phone like Calm, Headspace. There's tons of guided visualizations out there where they can just sort of put, you go into a dark room, you put your headphones on, and the guided visualization will take you through some breathing exercises and some visualizations. Sometimes for people, it's just focusing on a mantra and going inside. Sometimes it's just practicing compassion. Just thinking about all the other people outside of you who may be suffering right now, and sending love their way, and getting outside of your own body, and sending that love and those positive thoughts, those mindfulness thoughts out to others. That will make you feel better. But definitely get outside every day now. Even if the weather isn't the greatest, even if it's dark, cold, and rainy, get outside. And definitely when it's sunny, you want to get out into that sunshine and make some vitamin D. We need to be exercising right now. There is no excuse to not be exercising right now. Your immune system is going to rely on your physical health. I promise you that. Right now, everybody needs to get moving. If you typically exercise and your gym is closed, most gyms are offering online classes. I personally haven't been a member of a gym in years. I subscribe to Peloton. I do all my exercise and workouts at home. I fully recommend the Peloton program. It's top notch. There's lots of free stuff on YouTube. Most gyms are probably offering great deals to tap into their online workouts. You can start to go outside and exercise. You can do yoga. You're still allowed to go hiking as long as you're maintaining social distancing at the time of this recording. But you got to start moving. And one of the reasons why you got to start moving, one of the reasons why you have to start moving is because of your lymphatic system. Your lymphatic system is your body's drainage system. It's basically the sewage system in your body. And it's pulling all the good garbage and toxins out of your body. And the lymphatic system the lymphatic system doesn't have its own muscles like your arteries are pumping blood. The way that your lymphatic system drains is through muscular contraction. So as your body is moving, that's what pumps the lymph. If the body isn't moving, if you're just sitting at your, because now you're working from home, so you're at your laptop, you're at your computer, you're then going right to the couch and then right to the bed and then right to the laptop, right to the dinner table. You're not pumping out the toxins in the lymphatic system. And this is where you may start to feel swollen. And so the exercise, that muscular contraction, is going to help pump the lymphatic system. You are going to have so much more clarity, so much more energy, and be so much stronger for not having that toxic buildup within your body. If you have like a little trampoline in the house, like a little rebounder, or your kids have a trampoline, go jump on that trampoline. That gets the lymphatic system pumping. The next system that I want to talk about is the gastrointestinal system. Because as I had mentioned, the immune system isn't an organ. It's comprised of many different systems. And so 70% of the body's immune response actually comes from your digestive tract. So your brain and your digestive tract have a direct link. It's called the vagus nerve. And that vagus nerve is constantly communicating from your gut to your brain and your brain back to your immune system. If you have faulty information inside, if you have a dysbiosis inside your gut, meaning the healthy bacteria in your gut are not present or outnumbered by bad bacteria, your body's immune system then can be triggered. You can have an overreaction, that's called autoimmune, from leaky gut, or you can have an underreaction where you're actually immunocompromised. One of the best ways to strengthen your immune system is to heal your gut. Lots of times people with dysbiosis and leaky gut need to work with a doctor, a functional medicine doctor or a nutritionist or a chiropractor who can help get their gut cleaned up. But there's a lot that you can do at home right now. And simply the first thing is to clear out sugar. Sugar and alcohol. So people, my office is right next to a liquor store. It's amazing what businesses they close and what businesses they open. They're so concerned about people not getting the coronavirus, but the liquor stores stay open. Isn't that crazy when we know that alcohol throws off the whole gut biome and weakens the immune system? So there's definitely some things that don't add up and are upside down in the recommendations or what's essential, but it is what it is. But you have control over that. So if you're consuming a lot of alcohol and sugar, I promise you're throwing your gut off and you're going to weaken your immune response when and if you have a potential exposure. So the gut process, food produces vitamins, enzymes, fatty acids, and more. Nutrient-rich foods will heal your gut, and the bad foods, and you know what they are, will hurt your gut. Taking a probiotic is really important right now to replenish the good bacteria into the digestive tract. And you can get that in most health food stores. We have all these supplements in our office. For those of you who are patients, you can talk to us about that on your next appointment. So you actually have more nerves in your digestive tract than you do in any other system of the body. That's why they say think with your gut. It's called the enteric nervous system. And this is why when you get nervous or you're under stress, the first thing is it throws your gut off. You may have diarrhea, you may have constipation, you may have stomach cramps. And your gut and your brain, as I was alluding to before, are completely connected through this nerve that comes off the top of your neck called the vagus nerve. And in times of fight or flight, you're going to get that digestive constriction, contraction, and it's going to affect your immune system. And so we know there's a branch of medicine now or neuroscience called Psychoneuroimmunology. And it's basically the connection between your thoughts, the nervous system, and your immune system. Stress has significant adverse effects on health and is a risk factor for many illnesses because it lowers the body's resistance and makes it more susceptible to pathogens. So one of the ways, and there are many, that chiropractic can support the body right now and build up the immune response and the immune defense is anytime we do work in the upper neck, we have the ability to affect several systems of every system of the body, but specifically we can affect the immune system and the digestive system. And if the body is in fight or flight, and we do an adjustment to the upper cervical spine where the parasympathetic nervous system, that rest, heal, digest, repair part of the nervous system, the upper cervical adjustment is the safest, gentlest, and most effective way to shut off or ramp down, put the dimmer on that fight or flight response and allow the body to return to a state of parasympathetic function. This is why I believe when we closed our office for 2 days, so many patients innately were reaching out to me saying, you need to get back open. Can I come in? When will you be open? Because they have realized after 10 years, 15 years of being patients, that this is an integral role in the health building, not the disease fighting, the health building strategy of their life. And so we are here to support our community. If you're a patient, we're open. Every week we're expanding our hours. Just call the office and find out. It's on the voicemail. We're updating it every day. Find out what our hours are. It may even be in the email that I sent out. Very soon we're going to be back to full hours because the demand is there. I realize that some people want to wait a little longer until they feel comfortable coming out of the house. When you're ready, we will be there for you. I promise you. So, that's my last slide. It just comes from my heart. I don't even need to see the slide. We are here for you right now, tomorrow, and every single day after that. And for those of you who we haven't met yet, we're there for you too. One of the nice things about our office, and there are many, is we'll never charge to sit down with you to discuss what your health needs and concerns are. Consultations in our office are always complimentary. You know, during this time, I believe everybody needs a stimulus package, and we're going to be rolling out our health stimulus package. So we're going to call it a health stimulus package, and I'm going to make it super easy for people in our community that aren't under chiropractic care yet, or patients, former patients that are watching this that want to get back under chiropractic care. We're going to make it financially very easy to step back into our office, get the consultations, exams, and extras that you need. When you call the office and you talk to one of our staff, just ask them about the health stimulus package and we'll let you know what that is. Thank you for letting me into your home. Thank you for allowing me the privilege to be a part of your health and wellness team. And thank you for your time, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon. Stay well, stay positive.